Is Pepe gonna rug? Binance needs liquidity. We've got trust nothing. Welcome to Debate Crypto. It's your boys, Keeper and Crusader, here on another episode, a little Sunday fun day. We've got big news for everybody today. Super excited about what we got going on over here. And, maybe take a little peek over what Crusader's background is as a little peek into what's happening after the show today. So we've got it pinned in the chat. If you guys aren't already subscribed to Danger Close Alpha, the podcast is starting. We have got huge things to talk about. We are going to walk the line and see if YouTube will keep us around. But yeah, make sure that you guys hit that. Sorry for the static at the start. I had our YouTube open in the background and I didn't realize it. And so the moment I started talking, a freaking ad started playing and it was like, and I was like, talk through it. I didn't know if you could hear it.
Yeah, I heard it. I was like, what was that? I thought it was your mic that broke up or something.
No, it was definitely that. That's why I never keep YouTube open in the background, because invariably there's like an ad or something that will come up. You're like, ah. Anyway, hopefully everybody's doing well in the chat. Got some interesting news this morning at church we can't talk about yet, but there's a lot of drama that might be happening in the crypto space. Like something. Let me just say this. Y'all are gonna hear something in crypto today. You'll hear it tomorrow. I'm gonna guess that tomorrow it hits the airwaves. It came to us personally, a few other people, but it ain't good. I mean, no matter how this plays out, it ain't good. And it is YouTube related. It is influencer related. We will just leave it at that. So we love you guys. If we could give you the information, we would. You'll see it soon. And, shout out and much love to all the YouTubers out there. We love you guys. Hopefully everybody's doing well. All right, cool. So Kenton's that already heard. Kenton, do not drop that in the chat, by the way. Please don't drop that in the chat.
No.
All right, cool. Let's jump in. Let's take a look at the markets real quick, and then we'll press forward from there. The global crypto market cap is, drumroll please, up, 1.05 trillion with a T dollars. That's up 0.39%. Bitcoin's at 26,120, pretty flat. ETH 1655, pretty flat. Ladies and gentlemen, the top 10 is, you guessed it, pretty flat. Cardano's up a little bit over 1%. Solana's up almost 2%, but the top 10 is flat. Crusader, you planning on dropping any TA today, or it's just boring and that's what it is?
Yeah, just give me a few seconds to set up my chart. I was actually setting up
no worries.
now.
Let me jump into the chat real quick and see who was first up in the chat today. Looks like our boy, longtime subscriber, longtime follower, Kenton Smith in the house says, sup. Kenton, glad that you're here, brother. Glad that you're always here. BG in the house. OC Pet Doctor, Sophisticated Dirtbag Fly Fishing. Good name. Like it. Crypto Military Vet. Finny Mazda. And G says, how many subs do they have? Oh, you're asking for a clue? No. Can't tell that. Sorry. That's gonna no, can't tell you.
That's too much. That's
TMI. That's too much information. Okay. So we have got a lot going on today. Like I said, as a reminder, if you're just jumping in, look at the pinned chat that we have. Please go over there and subscribe. We are actually going to redirect the show right after this. And to let you know, we're not going to leave you hanging. I have my vest sitting 2 feet away from me. Crusader has his vest sitting 2 feet away from him. We are going to literally end the show, throw on vest, sit down, start. So 1 p.m. today, Danger Close Alpha, and we've got a great lineup, lots of stuff planned. We've been working on this all week. So we're super excited. Hopefully you guys are going to check that out today. All right, you got your stuff pulled up, Crusader?
Yes, I do. So let me share my screen here. Let me show. I had to simplify it because I had 100 million things on my chart. That's right. That's the first time you hear it. I had too many things on my chart. But let's take some of this down. And here we are. So basically, this is a macro level of what's been happening. Right? This is from the beginning of this year to now. we are at massive support here. We're at the bottom of the range, right? The value area low for this year, and that's what's holding us now, because we did fall out of this regression trend that I've been telling you guys. We've been on the up and up, right? But we're technically, if you look right here, we're still technically a higher low, higher low, higher low. So we're
Kind of a
still
higher
in that
low.
trend. Yeah, kind of, right? Not 100%, but way higher than this one down here and way higher than the one down here.
Yeah.
Technically, you're still on the up and up. If this range continues to hold and we push back towards the PLC, the point of control here, we get back inside this regression trend, we are solid, right? This PLC is at 29.4, 29.3, and the 30,000. So that's kind of been the range we're in. If we break this level and we lose this support here, which is 26.18, basically 26,000, we lose that and we don't wick down like we did over here, we lose it completely, we close below it, things are going to get a little sketchy.
Hey,
But if
Crusader,
we
how has
yeah.
ChartPrime been treating you? What do you like about it?
Dude, ChartPrime's been pretty good. I mean, honestly, the thing I like about it, it's pretty straightforward on the indicators that you can use and tell you a direction of the market. So it's pretty good for some scalp trading. That's what I've kind of used it for. Some quick little movements here and there to get direction in the market. It's very beginner friendly, which is also something I like, right? You don't have to really have a lot of in-depth knowledge. You just need to have like, hey, I'm looking at these 5 different indicators within ChartPrime. They're all telling me bullish. You're getting confluence. All right, then I'm going in, right? Or they're all telling me bearish. I'm shorting. So that's the one thing that I like about it, to be honest. It's really, really simple in those terms.
Yeah, we've got a link for that down below, guys. Crusader's been making some money. He's going to be modest about it, but he's been making some money trading, right? He's been working hard on it. And shout out to Army Piper. ChartPrime is really exactly what Crusader said. I mean, even a dummy like myself can use this program. So check it out if you guys want to. We've got a link in the description. All right, cool. Let's get into it. Let's have some fun. Let's see what's going on in the crypto markets. We're going to start off with a little bit of Binance news, and stick around for the Pepe news. That's going to be towards the end. Let's see here. So Binance. Been in the news a lot lately. This one's interesting to me. Binance pushes low cap projects to boost liquidity over market manipulation fears. Is that really what they're doing? Well, let's talk about it. Binance staff contacted crypto projects with low liquidity tokens trading on its platform in the past week. The exchange asked for details of any market-making relationships those projects had in place and whether they would consider contributing tokens to its savings products. A Binance spokesperson said that the outreach is part of an ongoing risk management initiative. Well, let me tell you, that's not a lie. But the risk management initiative, ladies and gentlemen, is them wanting to mitigate their own risk, as I'm guessing that 212. Listen, this is all on the blockchain, right? That 212 liquidation point was probably a very real or very close number. And so you see that happen. You see the market getting crushed. You see bad news for Binance. And now Binance is reaching out to their low cap token project saying, hey, would you mind holding some tokens on our savings program? I don't think that can be a coincidence. That has to be them reaching and pulling and saying, how do we put more money on our platform and actually park it there? Because what's happening is money's moving in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And they're saying, okay, how do we actually park some liquidity there to try to slow down some of this volatility that's happening? Crusader, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I was actually not muted. So yeah, I think it's exactly that. I wasn't fully paying attention to what's happening, but Binance definitely has some problem. We've had the rumor where maybe they're selling Bitcoin, right? CZ is selling off Bitcoin to keep BNB propped up. And they've just been getting kind of hit lately. A lot of people have been trying to, wish bad upon Binance to collapse or whatever it is. I don't think it's a good idea for that to happen. Like I said before, I think we talked about it around the blockchain one time. It's going to hurt a lot of people. A lot of people are going to lose money if this happens. So I don't want Binance to have struggles. I don't want Binance to go down. I don't want people to lose money in those aspects. I wish the best, right? I don't want the crypto space to be set back. Could things be tight right now? We're in the bear market. Anything could be happening. Businesses are struggling. But I think Binance, if there's somebody that can make it through, I think Binance is definitely one of the few that can make it through. I don't think they're going to end up like FTX. I mean, even FTX is coming back. So I don't think Binance is going to go down. Could they be struggling a little bit? maybe, but I don't think it's. I think people are blowing it out of proportion.
Yeah, and whether they're blowing it out of proportion or not, I agree with you that they're going to be able to weather the storm, and that's really what this comes down to. I don't think people recognize the amount of money that we're talking about. I think people get almost desensitized when they see these market caps, and they're like, "Oh, that market cap's only $800 million. Like that's a lot of freaking money, right?" And so you have all of these projects combined on one platform, money coming in, transaction fees on all the transactions that are happening. These platforms are very freaking profitable. And if I have a company that is incredibly profitable, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to protect it. And so I think that CZ, even at the cost of selling Bitcoin, what you have to recognize is that someone like CZ, when he's selling off Bitcoin, let's say that he was indeed doing that. When he's selling off Bitcoin at 25K, what do you think his average entry on Bitcoin is? Now, now I'm not talking about like what's actively being traded on the platform. What I'm talking about is when he started.
What did he actually buy in, right? Maybe
What
like
is he actually buying in
600
at?
bucks, 1200,
Dude,
1200.
my point exactly. So he's like, well, I got to take one for the team here. I know it's going a lot higher than 25K, but I'm 4,000% up on that, and it's going to save my ass. So therefore, I'm going to do it. So I think that the Binance, the Binance spreadsheet, or not the spreadsheet, the Binance, what's the word I'm looking for? Their balance sheet. I think their balance sheet maybe is having issues, especially seeing something simple like this. Like, could you imagine, Crusader, like OpenSea reaching out to Danger Close Alpha for an example? And they're like, hey, like, we know you got some extra NFTs that are floating around out there. Well, just put them over in our little savings program over. You know what I'm saying? Like reaching out to lower cap stuff. It seems like a reach to me, but the reality is the whole crypto market seems to be in trouble. And that actually leads me into my next, into our next article, which I think is a whole lot of fugazi. You know, this is Debate Cryptos. We're going to talk about it. JP Morgan. Oh, hold on. Pause. I won't make it a 5-minute story like the TikTok was. But before we talk about JP Morgan, let's talk about JP Morgan. Can I give it to him real quick, Crusader?
Yeah, dude, drop it.
All right. So I'm not going to give you the whole story. If you want to see the whole story, _CryptoKeeper at TikTok on TikTok. Okay, check it out. But here's the overarching theme. I go in a couple days ago to deposit a check. The check doesn't show up in my account the next day, but it's not even not showed up. It's just not there. It's not pending. It's not nothing. I go into the bank. I'm trying to be nice. I'm doing, you get farther with sugar than spice. I start talking to the lady, and basically she can see everything. She sees the transaction happen. There's no hold put on the check. There is nothing wrong, and she even has the physical check. So I'm like, okay, just fix the problem. I can't. Brings in the bank manager. I'm giving you a really short version here. Bank manager ends up broing me. The bank manager says, bro, I told you there's nothing I can do about it. Obviously, my attitude changed a little bit when a bank manager broed me and basically effectively told him, like, do your job, make this happen. This is not rocket science. It's 2023. He refuses. He won't write a statement. He won't do anything for me. So I leave and I mull on it. And I say, you know what? This is exactly like the face diapers. You either comply and just basically kind of like sit down and just, be quiet like they want you to, or you stand up for yourself. So I stood up for myself and I went into his office and I sat down and I told him, I've got all day. You're going to fix this problem. I've got payroll due today. You're going to fix it. Guess what? This dude literally made 2 phone calls. Poof, like a magician. The money was there. So the point of the story is these banks will try anything they can do. And whether he wants to admit it or not, I believe that the banks are instructed that when they have these problems, they tell you it's going to go into an investigative, arm, and it's going to be a couple days. The reality is if they can hold your money, especially when it's a large dollar amount, and then you extrapolate that out across the country, when they can hold it for a couple extra days, it is a massive amount of freaking money. So they can play the game. Yeah, and they can play the game as if, well, you'll be able to handle this. No, you don't know my personal finances. You don't know this, that, or the third. This is a profit scheme for your bank. Ladies and gentlemen, don't be pushed around by these freaking banks. They will manipulate you to your core, which brings me to this article. JP Morgan happens to be the same bank. Sees, quote, limited downside for crypto markets over the near term. JP Morgan cites the unwinding of long positions in CME Bitcoin futures nearing completion rather than it being in its initial stages as limiting near-term downside. Effectively, they go in and talk about the correction, liquidations this last month, but they're saying, hey, this should be the end without me just actually reading the article. I'm not going to read the article. They are putting out a news broadcast, and I want your take on this, Crusader. JP Morgan's pretty heavily into the crypto space now. They hold a lot of Ethereum for sure. They used to talk just absolute trash about Bitcoin. We've heard what Jamie Dimon has had to say, blah, 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 blah. What does it benefit, or what would it benefit them to tell you, hey, don't fear, limited downside, the pain is over? Or is this a manipulation tactic yet again to use the news to propagandize our efforts to make money in the crypto space?
Yeah, dude, I definitely think this is propaganda, right? I definitely think this is not a real issue. You can't trust these banks. They fund whatever direction benefits them the best, right? BlackRock and all these companies and JP Morgan have been talking trash about Bitcoin for many years. Now they're all coming out, BlackRock specifically, as massive supporters, saying that I believe they even said one time that your portfolio should be like 80% Bitcoin. And it's just, these are wild speculations that they're throwing now out of nowhere. It's like, what epiphany did you just recently just have that you didn't have 4 years ago? Bitcoin was the same thing 4 years ago than what it is today. But it just benefits them better now than it did 4 years ago. Jamie Dimon's done the same thing, right? Talked massive trash about Bitcoin, dumped the price, goes and loads up. This has been proven that they've loaded up on Bitcoin when he's been talking negative about it and the price has been going down. So it's all what benefits me, what position benefits me, right? Almost like the politics.
And we're going to talk about a lot of politics today at 1 p.m. Pinned in the chat is the Danger Close Alpha podcast. Guys, it's happening. We've been talking about it for a long time. We talked about different tactics, ways we could do this. I'm telling you, we're going to go ham while walking the line. So make sure that you guys are there. We're going to be on Rumble as well. We're going to be, the different platforms, I think Kick and some other stuff. But in any event, we'd love to have your support on YouTube. So we're going to redirect this stream right after this. Literally give us 2 minutes. We're going to stop 2 minutes before.
It's going to be instantly, yeah.
I mean, it's going to be, so just stay here.
Over there. Just wait for the live stream to go live.
And I'm telling you, I'll give you guys, since you guys are the OGs in our space, right? A lot of you are probably part of the DCA fam. Let me just hit you real quick so that you kind of know what we're going to chat about today. We're going to talk about the debate. We're going to talk about the Trump indictment. We're going to talk about the BRICS nations. We're going to talk about the blue umbrellas. We're going to talk about the India fake moon landing. We're going to talk about mass mandates. And we're going to talk about the Wagner group today and much, much more. So if you think that you maybe are interested in what's happening in the world today, or that might or may or may not be conspiratorial, stick around. Your boy's got some info. We've been diving into this, so it's going to be fun. I'm actually, dude, I'm super freaking excited. So stick around for that.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we'd love to have everybody's support, so make sure you go over there. Like I said, it's pinned in the chat. All right, cool. Moving on. Another institution, maybe not an institution, but that likes to manipulate things. The Treasury, the IRS, released proposed crypto tax reporting rules. We've talked about this earlier in the year a number of times. A lot of this has been happening, but there's a little bit more information that's coming out. Under these new rules, the IRS and the Treasury said brokers, exchanges, and possibly DEXs, decentralized exchanges, will need to increase tax reporting in the next few years. Oh, surprise, surprise, right? The Treasury Department released proposed rules that requires them to report certain sales, they're not saying which, on crypto from Bitcoin to NFTs to close the, quote, tax gap and ensure that everyone plays by the same set of rules, okay? The Treasury, alongside the IRS, released a set of regulations as part of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act passed in 2021 that included crypto language to increase reporting made by brokers on customers' crypto activity. Okay, let's talk about taxes real quick. Taxes, are they theft, Crusader?
100%. We had a whole revolution about it.
Yeah, so we did. We had an absolute revolution over exactly that. So my next question would be, if we are actively having, being basically lied to, stolen from on an everyday basis, now we get introduced, crypto gets introduced, and it's like, hey, here's a decentralized option for you to be able to hold value, because as we've said a million times, value is what two or more people agree on. And everybody on the stream probably agrees that crypto has value. Now, the dirty IRS and the dirty Fed and the dirty Treasury wants to get their hands in on that because they're going to tax that too. Do you think that these tax laws, Crusader, should be, do you think that this should be governed in its own set of taxable, like basically infrastructure, or do you think that it should just fall under the regular tax code?
Yeah, I think it definitely needs a separate situation, because there's just so many things in the crypto space that don't make sense, right? Like, it's a taxable event when you switch your Bitcoin to Ethereum, or your Ethereum to your Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
But it's like you're still invested, you're still in crypto, right? In real estate, when you jump from one house to the next house,
1031 exchange.
you don't get hit with those capital gains tax, right? Because you're still invested in that market. So I think those kind of things need to take place. And then how do they start controlling all these? How do they start controlling or properly monitoring who actually owes taxes in crypto and who doesn't? Right? Is it just going to be what's on the centralized exchanges? Is it going to be on every single wallet possible? It's like, what happens if somebody has a wallet that had taxable events, they forgot, they reported every other wallet? Is that wallet that didn't report taxes, that wallet going to get like somehow shut down or black flagged or whatever it is, that it won't be able to make transactions in and out because MetaMask is going to be working with the IRS? I don't know, right? I don't know. These type of things need to be like thought out, and I think crypto is a little bit too complex for what the IRS tax code is right now, for them to just throw the same blanket that they've been doing on everything else. Just everything's taxable. Okay, so when I buy a coffee with my Bitcoin card or whatever, I'm getting taxed because I bought $5 of coffee.
Yeah, you bought the Bitcoin at 5K. You bought a piece of you bought a coffee when it was at 25K. You 5X. You've got now you're yeah, absolutely. You made the conversion, so therefore you just bought about $1,000 coffee. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolute insanity.
Like, how do you get taxed as a miner? How do you get taxed as somebody that's yield farming? How do you get taxed as somebody that's providing liquidity? How do you get taxed of, there's just a lot of different things that are happening in the crypto space that people can participate in. How does that all work? And I think there's too much complication for them to just throw the tax code they have currently. But I think that's what they're going to go. It's the easiest route for them, right? Because they care about ease of use for them, not for us. They're like, you owe taxes. How much? Nobody knows. Find out.
Figure it out. And that's, we actually had a sponsor earlier on in the year. He did a great job for us. Shout out to Anthony. He did an absolute great job for us with our taxes. I do think that, you should know that if you're in crypto, and again, this isn't a sponsored thing right now because we don't have anything even up for him. But ultimately, I do think it's important that you do talk to somebody that knows crypto if you get into taxes. Like, we're not tax professionals. We're not advising you what to do with your taxes. We're just saying that it would be a very interesting idea to think that you can just take a brand new system, a brand new idea, a brand new blockchain, and just throw these archaic rules at it. Now, on the flip side, to play good cop, bad cop here, I believe also that there could be benefits to that, because I think that maybe some of these attorneys and some of these tax guys are going to be able to possibly, figure out, just like they have with the tax code before, maybe some loopholes and some places where it could be beneficial for us. But the biggest one for me is what you brought up, Crusader, the ETH to Bitcoin. Like, their argument is that, well, it's not a like asset. It's like with real estate, it's a house to a house, or it's a business to a business, or whatever, commercial to commercial, whatever, right? They're saying it's the same thing. They're saying, well, Ethereum and Bitcoin aren't the same. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, they don't do the same thing, but they're both a digital asset. They're both on the blockchain. They're both providing a service of some sort on the blockchain in a digital format. So that's probably my biggest one, dude, because what do we do? Well, like, let me ask the chat. How does it affect you when you want to make a move in crypto? And you have to think about that, right? We have our Bitcoin mining stuff going on right now, and some of the people that are investing with us, like, some of the conversations were like, hey, I would have to make a big conversion from this to this, and then all of a sudden it's costing me this much in capital gains, and it ultimately really muddies up the water. I don't like it, and I hope that they're able to come to a conclusion, because as we're going to talk about later in the stream, actually, I think it's the next article, they're stifling innovation. That's what's happening. Point blank period. They're basically making it difficult for us to be able to take the next step forward, which this next step forward could help in a lot of areas just in everyday life. I talked about VeChain the other day as an example. I mean, ultimately, it's solving a real world problem. You have all of these different businesses that need to be able to operate and identify issues within their services, within their marketing, within everything, right? Just their whole infrastructure. Guess what? Blockchain can do that. So like, let's take advantage of it. Let's not stifle that innovation. So I don't know. We'll see. I think it'll take time. I don't think we'll get the answers right away. And I think they'll probably keep it purposefully vague because they want you to err on the side of, I don't want to go to jail.
This is a pretty cool concept here. Matthew Barnes throws out, says proof of work to proof of work and a POS
proof of stake to proof of stake.
Proof of stake to proof of stake, right? Maybe that's a pretty good solution, right? Meanwhile, everything is a proof of stake. You know, they're like systems, so therefore there shouldn't be a tax event. If you're going proof of work to proof of work, same. I think that's a pretty cool concept. That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, I've never heard somebody suggest that. Shout out to Matthew Barnes. That's actually that's a cool idea. I have not ever talked to somebody about that. All right, smash that like if you haven't already. If you don't have the bell notifications on, guys, we're about to hit 10K subs. It's taken us about 2 years to get there. This last year was a grind.
Close, bro. We're like
so
100
close.
and what? 110?
109, I think, before the stream. I haven't checked like during whether we grabbed a sub or not, but I think we're 109.
We're at 9,892.
Oh, okay. So we grabbed somebody. We have 100. We need 108 subs. So if you're on here and you're just watching, come on, hook a brother up.
Let's get to that 10K, man.
We want to hit 10K for sure. So, all right, cool. Do that, and then obviously, like I said in the pin chat, Danger Close Alpha going ham today. So make sure that you stick around. We're gonna have some fun with that. All right. So talk about stifling innovation. Crypto builders should give up serving U.S. customers for 5 to 10 years. And I was like, huh? What's he saying? The founder of DYDX argued that early stage crypto projects could scale faster by not serving U.S. customers as they don't have to deal with the hassles of U.S. regulatory climate. Antonio Giuliano, the founder of DYDX, thinks that crypto builders should forget about serving customers in the United States over the next 5 to 10 years. Instead, he said builders should just experiment in other markets and return once the time is right. He basically argued that builders should prioritize markets outside of the U.S. because they're just going to face fewer hurdles as they focus on platform growth and user adoption. His comments were mainly focused on startups as opposed to fully established products, as he emphasized that they could scale faster overseas in friendly markets. Here's what he said. Crypto builders should just give up serving U.S. customers and try to get in 5 to 10 years. It's not really worth the hassle and compromises. Most of the market's overseas anyways. Innovate there, find PMF, which is product market fit, then come back with more leverage. In the grand scheme of things, barely anyone uses or cares about crypto today. I personally don't care about any outcome except growing crypto 100x long term, he added. Okay, I don't agree with the grand scheme of things, barely anyone uses or cares about crypto today. I think that's changing and growing. But I do, obviously, we don't want them to stop serving, United States people. But this is what some of the stuff that we've been talking about causes. For sure.
Right? And it's the stifled innovation, right? People are just like, companies are like, I don't want to deal with all the SEC. I don't want to deal with all the headaches. I don't want to deal with all the lawyers and lawsuits and this and that. When you can just jump to Singapore, you can jump to Dubai, you can jump to El Salvador, you can jump to any of these other countries that are very pro crypto. And even, sorry to say, but maybe even Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is coming out pretty pro crypto lately.
Yeah.
Russia, even Russia, dude, like all these major, massive countries coming out pro crypto and making it friendly for innovators and investments and business people to show up and make it happen. And they just have to, they can still use probably American influencers to talk about the products. They just can't be served to American users or whatever. But I don't know. I think it's one of those things where it makes sense in the business wise for them to do that. Maybe not 5 to 10 years. That feels like a long time, but at least the first 2 to 3 years of their business to get really started up without any problems. And then once they have a solid business plan, everything is working out the way they want, then they can try to start moving towards the American market and start exposing themselves to that, right? Because they already have a stronger foundation. Maybe they already have the legal team in place for when the hurdles come, right? They have some capital saved up for when the hurdles come, and they can start making strides in the American market. But that's unfortunate. That's what the American government is doing to crypto industry right now, which is
Yep.
hurting them. It's hurting the American, not just the American people, but it's hurting the American government because we were known as the country where you would come and build, you would come and live the American dream, right? Anything could be possible here. And now we have an industry that is literally creating, shout out to Blood, what's up, Blood? That's literally creating the biggest transfer of wealth for the American people that are struggling right now. And we can't really participate, or in companies are taking this approach of maybe we just don't participate with Americans, right? Maybe America just isn't what it used to be, and we just don't go deep with them, right? They're too much of a pain. What are we, China? That's what we used to say about China. We don't want to deal with them. They're too much of a pain. Now the tables are turning.
Yep. And that, we're going to talk about, this change in America over on Danger Close Alpha here in just a little bit. You guys are going to for sure hear about that. I hope that we can just figure out a way to pull our head out of our proverbial anus, because the facts are there's a way to handle this where they could absolutely bring in massive amounts of profit, massive amounts of business, massive amounts of innovation to the space if we were willing to. It's kind of like putting aside maybe your ego, right? Sometimes you might not love an idea. It might go against what you originally thought that you were going to do or be or grow towards, whatever. But for the greater good, understanding that, hey, long term down the road, this could be really freaking good for our country as a whole. Maybe we should start leaning in that direction. And I think a lot of other countries are realizing that. I think the US is so set in their freaking ways of just being the boss.
Yeah, just think about it. Even wanting to be the boss makes you wanting to be the boss of, like, we had conversations, right, with Gary Cardone, right? And when we spoke to him, his thought process was, I want to dominate. Whatever I get involved with, I want to dominate, right? Because I want to be number one. That's what the US has always been, right? The dominator, the number one country, the one that everyone's like, damn, I want to follow whatever they're doing. I want to follow their example. Why are we not dominating the crypto space? If we were so afraid that China or Russia or some of these other countries were going to dominate this space, why aren't we stepping forward and say, hey, miners, come to our country. Hey, exchanges, whatever it is, come to our country. We're going to make sure that this is regulated, this is in place, that we are a safe hub, right? That people want to come to and invest and create the crypto industry, and the government would benefit from it just because of the innovation, the money, the relationships, right? Even the government, let's say they don't want, let's get away from the idea of backing the US dollar with Bitcoin or whatever.
Right.
Just the US government putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet, right? Saying, hey, we're trying to make money, right? We're trying to get out of this deficit that we're in, right? Getting involved with Bitcoin mining, producing, putting the energy that we have in this country that is being wasted right now into Bitcoin mining to produce something, right? To once again become a country that produces, not just buys and imports, and then say, hey, we're putting the Bitcoin out there, right? Into these exchanges, into these things, and making this country better.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're not taking advantage.
I can't get into the details, but we had a really interesting meeting the other day surrounding some of the mining stuff that Crusader was just talking about, and the energy and the way that we just waste. And in a really backwards way, without giving too much detail, the US is going to ultimately back themselves into a corner. They're doing all of this carbon credit stuff, which we know is going to be it's a sham, first of all, the way that they're presenting it. But they're effectively going to back themselves into a corner to where, to earn these carbon credits, guess what they're going to have to end up doing? They're going to be freaking mining Bitcoin to offset the energy that they're wasting. It's just a fact. And bravo, right? Because these games have just gone on for so freaking long. That, control, and in a really backwards way, when the Bitcoin mining seems to be the solution to use up a bunch of this energy, and they kind of have to do it because they get forced into it. I think it's a real, slap in the face, just as a reminder, like, hey, we've been trying to tell you this all along, that this is a solution, but you just didn't want to hear it. So hopefully we wake up at some point before too long and figure out that this could be really good. So yeah, smash that like if you guys are having some fun today. We are what do we got? We're at we're like we mentioned it a few minutes ago. We need a little bit over 100 people, like 108 people to get to the 10K. I want to get there.
Yeah,
So
man,
if you're
can't
not
wait for us
subbed,
to hit 10K, dude.
do it. Do your thing. Sack Nasty said Tesla, #1 energy supplier. Shoot. Speaking of that, you know, one of the states, real quick before we move on to the next topic. So many people are like mass exodus from some of these states. All right, so Tesla leaving California. He's out, right?
He's in Texas.
Shapiro, right? Did you hear about that?
Did he finally leave?
They're leaving and going to Smashville or Nashville. Smashville.
Oh, smash.
Sorry. That was called a
It's 'cause of the
Freudian
smash
that was called
burgers, guys.
a
The smash
Freudian slip
burgers.
for smash burgers. That's definitely what I meant. Yeah, so they're going to Nashville, and then you've got obviously Joe Rogan moved, I think, to Texas, right?
Yeah, he moved to Texas. Yeah, he led
And
the exodus. He was like Moses. He was like, "Follow me, let
that's
my
right.
people go."
And ultimately, what am I getting at here? I'm getting at, like, if you continue to push people too far, they're going to leave. And what does that do? You're taking massive companies that pump money into your economy, jobs into your economy, all of taxes into your all of these things, and it's like, hey, bro, you push me too far, I'm out.
Yeah,
And I think that that's kind of what they're doing here with crypto. They're going to push people too freaking far, where they just say, okay, that's fine, enough's enough. We'll go over here. I mean, we're going outside the U.S. to do stuff that we could be doing right here. They could afford and be able to give us the energy rates where we're getting there. They won't do it, but they could do it. We know that for a fact. They just don't want to participate in letting anyone besides the elites make this freaking crazy money. That's kind of what it comes down to. So
yeah. Yo, what's up, Army Piper? Shout out to Army Piper.
Army, we were just talking about you, bro. Glad that you're here. We were talking about ChartPrime and how you are the man. So glad to see you here, brother. All right. Reminder, I keep reminding you guys, 1 p.m. Be there. We're gonna do a redirect. So literally, I'm gonna toss on my vest and we're gonna be right in. We're gonna go ham. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what's next.
What's going on? What's next? Is Pepe next?
No, Pepe's not next. We got one more. USDC. Let's talk about USDC. I know stablecoins, you guys are probably thinking, that's boring, but it's actually really important to kind of look at. USDC market cap plummets to a 2-year low. Here's 4 reasons why. All right, so let's check this out. So as per CoinGecko, the market cap is now hovering under 26 billion. This is a far cry from its 56 billion last June. And Tether, however, as for the competition, Tether, just a new high along the same metric recently at 83 billion. They're saying there's 4 key reasons for the token slump. The biggest headwind was likely the serious depegging event that we saw earlier this year. I think it got down to like 87 cents. So that happened. Basically the banking crisis was kind of that. Another steady rise of interest rates. With the interest rates, let me pause right there. With the interest rates, the reason that they're bringing that up is because you're holding a stable coin, which is ultimately being the US dollar getting devalued. Effectively, you're parking money there and you're losing it the same way that you kind of lose your mattress money, right? Your mattress money isn't worth as much tomorrow as it is today. And so I think that stable coins are going to continue to be a really important feature in the crypto space. And I don't think that it's a good thing necessarily to see something going down like that. Crusader, do you think that there will continue to be these massive, like multiple different stable coins out there? Or do you think that once the CBDCs go into effect, that's going to be it?
I think there could still exist, because there'll be almost like liquid branches from the main source, but they're all going to have to feed back to the CBDC to be legitimate, especially if regulation drops and say, hey, if you want to be a stable coin, you have to connect to our CBDC. And from there, it's almost like the banking system, right? You have the central banks, and then you have all these other little branch banking systems that all feed back. So it's going to be kind of that loop. That's how I see it. Maybe it's completely different. I don't know. But that's the only way I see it. I don't think there's a problem with them coexisting that way. They just meanwhile they feed back. The stablecoin thing is it's interesting, right? The CBDC's stablecoin where is that really going to lead us to? We already know that stablecoins can freeze your assets, right? So they can
Tether,
freeze
USDC, I think most all of them can.
yeah. So it's you already know there's already some level of control there that is CBDC like, and how far that's going to keep going or get going, I don't know, but it's definitely something to look out for. It's definitely something to be careful with. I don't trust a lot of the stable coins. I'd rather just hold, you know, I just rather hold crypto. I jump in, I on ramp my fiat, I get into the crypto that I want, and I get out. I don't tend to hold a lot of stable coin just for that simple reason. If I would, I would probably try to go for a decentralized stable coin. However decentralized they are, I know that there's DAI, there's a few, maybe there's one or two other ones out there, but I don't hold them. I'm just saying if I had to, that's probably what I would go for. But
they're a necessary evil, though. They're a necessary evil. We talk.
Are they?
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the fact that you need to make a big crypto move, whatever it is, right? And let's say, okay, send me Bitcoin, and you're about to pay somebody the next day, and the Bitcoin price plummets, and basically the contract's written up in US dollars. You're screwed.
Don't write the contract in US dollars. Write the contract in Bitcoin. Problem solved.
Agreed, but we're just not there yet. And so most of these companies, we're gonna have to get to the point to where basically the end user and whoever's at the start all the way through the chain are all willing to accept Bitcoin. And I think we're still a ways away from that.
That's the thing. People need to have the mind shift of stop thinking in dollars. Oh, Bitcoin is worth $26,000. I have $5,000 of Bitcoin. No, you have point whatever amount of Bitcoin, and all that matters is stacking that Bitcoin. If you're going to make a business deal like that in the contract, hey, it's worth 3 Bitcoin. Period. Doesn't matter what the value of US dollars the Bitcoin is, right? It's 3 Bitcoin. That's what I want. And I think that will come as Bitcoin becomes more stable, as we see BlackRock and these ETFs take off, right? And then once the ETFs happen, I think that's going to really stabilize the price of Bitcoin, because like Blood was saying when he was on the show the other day, the ETFs feed into people's pensions, into people's 401ks, into all these things automatically. They're being fed into it. So it makes the price a whole lot stable because those people are saving money for retirement. They're just constantly feeding it money, and they're not pulling it out. They're not selling it every other day, every time there's a pump or whatever. They're selling it at some point down the future when they go and retire, which really makes the price a lot more stable because there's so much more liquidity in there. Excuse me. So I think that will stabilize the price of Bitcoin, and whatever that stabilized price is, kind of like how gold is, right? Gold had a massive pump when it had its ETF, and then it's been kind of slowly stable, kind of having little moves, nothing drastic. So people are willing to accept X amount of ounces of gold. People don't do it, but they're willing to accept it because they know the price doesn't really fluctuate that fast, that hard. And I think that was the same thing will happen with Bitcoin. Is it that going to happen by the end of this decade?
No.
Possibly, right?
No.
Very possible with these ETFs. With the ETFs coming in, you think that Bitcoin won't be stable by 2030?
No, I don't.
What?
I don't.
Dude,
I don't.
So
I think we'd have to have such a huge move. Let's put it that way.
Maybe. Super cycle.
It would be a huge move, right? It would need to be a massive move, because ultimately the amount of liquidity that needs to pump in, I don't know what the dollar figure is. Somebody told it to me not too long ago.
With the hedge funds that have been getting interested, BlackRock included, along with some of these other ones, were all accumulated. I think I did a video on it on TikTok. It was like over $27 trillion, right? That they
if they loaded it all up into freaking Bitcoin.
You already hear BlackRock talking about 80%, right, going into Bitcoin. Let's say they
a chance they're doing
companies, eventually out of that 27, they add $10 trillion just to Bitcoin.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so let's look at it real quick. We've got an extra second before we hit this last article. Let's take a quick peek. We are at Bitcoin's at $508 billion. So to go to 10 trillion, you're going 20x. You're going to that's a 500K Bitcoin, $520,000 Bitcoin is what you'd be looking at right there, right? As of right now, if we made a move to $10 trillion. Gold's market cap, I think, is at $12 trillion. Okay.
11, 12 around there.
Does the flip happen? Okay, so all of these institutions start flooding in. You think that they're actually going to, with what the BRICS nations are doing that we'll talk about on the Danger Close Alpha podcast coming up, do you think that that we will actually flip gold at that point and basically money will be coming out of gold and going into Bitcoin?
It's not about money going out of gold. I just
Okay.
think that there's going to be a lot more money going into Bitcoin. Gold's still going to be around. It's not like people are
Yeah.
just going to all magically sell their gold. The gold industry will continue to exist. Will it dwindle in time? Maybe. I don't know. But I'm not saying that, a lot of people think that one thing needs to die so the other thing can move forward. A lot of times things can coexist and
Oh, yeah.
still produce because there's so much money in the world. And if there's a gigantic chart that shows you like how big the crypto industry
Oh, I've
is
seen that before.
compared to like all the other money that's in the
Yeah.
entire world.
Yeah.
And you start getting some fractions of all this money from real estate, a little bit of fraction from stocks, a little bit of market from the bond market, from this, from that thing, start putting into Bitcoin. Bitcoin can grow exponentially large. Doesn't mean that these other industries go away. It just means that Bitcoin is going to grow exponentially. So I think it could flip gold. Gold is not going to go away. Real estate is not going to go away. But a lot of money can quickly rush into Bitcoin and make it massive in a very short period of time.
Well, we're hoping to see that. Obviously, everybody in here would love to see. What's that?
10 years. Let's go back 10 years on Bitcoin's market cap, right? And look how far it's come with just average Joe people creating companies and influencers and this and that and the third. Look how far it's come. $500 billion. $500 billion, nothing to shake a stick at, right? That's a lot of money in a network. Now, let's talk about institutions. BlackRock, one of the biggest companies in the entire world, and all these other hedge fund and governments and countries all getting involved. In the next 4 to 5 years, that happening will exponentially grow Bitcoin way faster than it took for it to get to 500 billion.
Yeah. All I know is I wish I was buying Bitcoin back in 2012. You know what I mean? $10, $6, $10 Bitcoin.
Yes, but
shout out to
think about it
Blood
right now. You just said, right? If we get to 10 trillion, it's a 20x from where we're at right now. Would you really care that you bought 30K Bitcoin once it's at 500,000? Would you really care?
No, I'm just being a smartass saying comparatively, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're not gonna make it like.
I guess what I'm saying is that exponential move that's happened isn't going to happen again in Bitcoin. Like, even if we see $1 million Bitcoin, right? The majority of people, if they do a 40x on whatever their portfolio is, are they going to make some money? Sure. Might they make $1 million? Sure. But like that life-changing wealth on 40x, for most people, they don't have enough capital invested to be able to make 40x go to some wild ass number, right? And that's at $1 million Bitcoin. So, we'll see what happens. I think that it's going to change exponentially. I think that we're going to see everything moving over towards blockchain. I think the regulations are going to play a part in this, but I just don't see the government allowing Bitcoin to stabilize for some time, because I think they still want to keep us kind of. I don't think they like the decentralized nature of it.
But that's the problem. I think they don't want the altcoins to succeed, right? Because we all talked about the altcoin market dying, and I think the government is trying to, destroy the altcoin market with these regulations, right? Like, oh no, nobody knows who's going to get sued next, right? Well, what is going to happen? But Bitcoin's not under that scrutiny. Doesn't have that problem with the government. Does the government like it or not like it? But they don't. I think they can control Bitcoin easier, right, through these hedge funds being invested into Bitcoin. And obviously you can't really do any criminal activity with Bitcoin. It's transparent. It's right there. You can see it. I don't think they have a problem with Bitcoin as much as they have a problem with all these other altcoins that are people making money out of Fugazi, right? They
out of Fugazi.
Spin up an altcoin, throw some money into it, pump it up, a bunch of people jump in, then next thing you know, it's another, $1 billion market cap. And it's like, is it really worth $1 billion? Does it really have any actual utility or function?
Absolutely perfect intro, Crusader. Absolutely perfect segue to what we're about to talk about. Before we do, just a reminder, guys, the pinned at the top of the chat, you can see it. Make sure you subscribe to Danger Close Alpha. We're literally spinning right into the show after this, and we got some wild topics to get into. We're going to go ham. Make sure that you guys are there. All right, so this $1 billion out of nothing. Dun, dun, dun. Pepe, Matthew Barnes called it. Let's talk about it. Pepe plummets 17% as team transfers millions to exchanges. And we're going to speculate on this a little bit. The popular frog-based meme coin has plummeted as the team remains silent on several large token transfers to exchanges. Pepe plummeted Friday morning, and millions of dollars worth were moved to the team's or from the team's wallets to exchanges. Pepe led the market's losses, dropping more than 17% overnight. The token's market cap shed $100 million from $444 million to $344 million as the multi-million dollar token transfers spread across social media. The Pepe Coins team's multi-sig ETH address transferred 16 trillion with a T. Pepe worth $16.85 million to 4 exchanges on Binance, OKX, KuCoin, and Bybit yesterday. A multi-sig wallet, most of you know what that is, but basically multiple people have to sign off before the transactions on the wallet are made. So let's speculate on this a little bit, right? That wallet still holds $9.61 million, which is a little bit over 10 trillion Pepe in it. All right, so let's speculate. Crusader, we have some multi-sig wallet stuff. We have to make decisions together, right? Why does this have to be such a big deal where if they see market volatility coming, they know the meme coins absolutely get ripped. Maybe a number of people are at a point where they're like, hey, listen, we spun this thing up. It's done really freaking well. It's time to take profits. What's the big freaking deal? Is that what's going on? Or is there something else happening in the background?
I think something else is happening, right? Things coming out of nowhere that truly aren't worth what they're being proposed as, right? What does Pepe really do? What does Pepe really bring to the world besides, people quickly flipping it to make some money, but it doesn't really actually provide anything. There's also the big rumor that SPF, he's getting go to jail now for witness tampering, right? And maybe our boy SPF was behind the Pepe run, right? And he's part of the team, and he's like, "Yo, I need some."
Where'd
cash,
you hear that? Where'd you hear that?
What? Twitter Space, baby. Twitter.
I haven't heard that one. I haven't heard that one.
So
did you really hear somebody say that?
Yeah. There's a whole conspiracy on it, right? And it's like maybe he's like, "Hey, I gotta grease some hands here real quick. We gotta sell some Pepe, because I got some big bills coming up if I want to make it out by 2024." So maybe that's what's happening, right? Because I don't think they know who the team is. I don't think the team is doxxed by any chance. I don't think so. So maybe SPF was part of it, right? Big speculation. Maybe it's all FUD. Who knows? But at the end of the day, they're meme coins. People get attached to these meme coins because they made some money on it or had a massive run. It doesn't mean that it's going to last, right? There's been altcoins that used to be Ethereum killers. EOS is one that I always point at. It was huge in 2017. It was massive marketing. Everybody was talking about EOS, how Ethereum was in trouble, smart contracts, this and that, yada yada, cheap raws, and it went away. And it was literally a top 10, top 20 coin, and it went away. You think that a meme coin like Pepe won't just disappear and fugazi itself because it got to a large market cap? It doesn't mean anything. And that's the problem with these altcoins, people getting attached to them, especially in the meme coin market.
Yeah.
Don't get attached to these things. They can disappear at a split of a second.
Yeah. And, a lot of people made a lot of money, not to put his business out on the street, but he's been pretty vocal about this. Our boy Honest, shout out to Honest, made like 33 grand on $300 off of Pepe, right? Shout out. That's freaking awesome, right? I've heard stories like that where people have done just insanely well on some of these meme coins. But at the end of the day, and this is kind of the reminder for everybody,
sorry to cut you off, but look at this right here. No Pepe tweets since SBF got locked up.
I can't verify that, but I believe it, right? I wouldn't put it past him whatsoever. And he had so much control over the crypto markets. That's an interesting one. Have not heard it. I might have to dig into that a little bit more. But what I want to remind people is the meme coins I don't think are ever going to go anywhere. It is the crypto casino. You've heard us talk about this before. People are going to look for opportunities.
It will always exist, but they'll change, right? The same meme coins that are here today won't be the same meme coins of 2025.
Correct. Some of them, however, start to build. One of them, it looks like, is continuing to build, is the one that I was very vocal about, Shiba. Now they've been actually continuing to supposedly build Shibarium and all of this other stuff. I don't know anything about it. I should probably look into it further with as vocal as I was about, that particular project. I do think that some of these will ultimately bring in enough money to be able to do that. But on their face, just remember, you're investing into effectively nothing. You're investing into, hey, can I beat somebody out of this position? That's really what it comes down to. How quick can I get in? How low can I get in? And how high can I get out? That's really what these come down to, right? And when there's a winner on a trade, there's a loser on a trade. And, you know, we've played around with these meme coins. We've done well with them. We've got smoked on them. I think anybody that's been in the meme coin markets at all has had a bad beat, right? Has learned some hard lessons. And then I'm guessing maybe has had some fun and made some money as well. So I'm not advocating that you can't or shouldn't do the meme coins. I just think that, as I always say, you need to know what you're getting involved in. And they can get so huge, like Pepe, so much hype. So many people are, quote unquote, making all of this money. But if you really break it down, I think I saw an article that said that like 1% or 1.5% of people like actually made real deal money with Pepe, as an example. And so
they hold forever.
What's that?
They hold forever.
Well, they want you to hold forever. That's part of what the spaces and all these different things try to get people to do. That's the deal, right?
Kool-Aid, right? You hold forever. We're going to freaking $10 trillion market cap or whatever. We're gonna flip Bitcoin. We're gonna flip Ethereum, right? We're gonna. And it's never.
Well, you remember, I'm not going to say it on here, but I had a personal experience with this recently, right? And apparently, Keeper was in trouble for not holding. Okay, I'm in trouble for making a little bit of money. Got to hold forever. You got to take a loss for the team, baby. You put your money in there and you take a loss for the team. But I don't know. That's not what I'm here for. So
Matthew Barnes says, "I'll stick with the OG meme Doge." Actually, that's actually a really good comment, and I want to hit that before we sign off here.
Yeah,
because the rumor is now in the streets that Elon's going to bring Doge into the Twitter space.
They've been saying that,
but listen, it's been happening. X or Twitter, whatever they call themselves now, has been getting money transmitter licenses in different states around the country, right? So he said it.
Well, he did say he wanted to do a platform that was like money.
That can do money transfers. It can be basically a competitor to WeChat in China. I've said it before, and if he does it, I don't see why he would not add Doge. With how much he always talks about it, I do not see why he would not add Doge to it. I believe more that that Elon will add Doge into Twitter and it can explode in price action, right, past $1, than XRP hitting 10K. I believe that way more, right? The whole XRP taking over the entire Swift system market, yada, yada. I believe that a whole lot less than I believe Dogecoin can actually cross $1 with Elon's help by being added to the platform and being the next big thing that everyone talks about, right? And it's all about timing. If he does it at the right time, right? Bull market's coming by next year, right? 2024, the halvening, then we start getting some run up, and then 2025, everything explodes. We are about a year and a half away from 2025. Everything can be timed perfectly for him to announce the Doge coming onto the platform by then, and then boom, baby, bull market plus Doge to the moon is going to happen.
Well, Crypto Fam, we hope everybody has had a great afternoon here. Don't leave. We're about to redirect you over to Danger Close Alpha. Make sure you subscribe, guys. If nothing else, support the channel for us. Subscribe. We'd love to have you there. We've got some wild topics we're about to get into. So stick around. It's in the pinned. It's pinned at the top of the chat. We're literally about to go live in about 2 minutes. So just remember, question everything,
trust nothing,
and until next time, hodl
like it's hot.
We'll see you soon.